Hi, I'm Donna. Nice active class to gain some momentum today. We're going to keep everything moving and we're going to start taking a kneeling position at the back of the mat. I've got a chair. You can have one handy. We're going to be doing some standing balancing, so that might be useful, and maybe you use blocks if you can reach further to the floor. You don't need any equipment. Come into forward virasana, so big toes touching, knees as wide as the mat, and just settle your pelvis down onto your heels, unless that hurts your knees, of course. And if that's the case, you can modify this and just put your hips up. We're going to stretch the arms forward. And just taking notice of how you feel as you come into this posture, where your body might feel at ease, or maybe you've got some tight spots along your spine, or wherever it is for you. Might be your knees, might be your hips. And breathing deeply into your whole body, feeling your ribs move with the breath, feeling your belly move with the breath. Good, and then inhale and come up into all fours. Just put your knees hip width and put your shoulders over your wrists, and we're going to ease forward and back on the wrists, just giving them a gentle warm up, gentle stretch. Good. Just have a look at your elbow creases. Notice if they face slightly different directions. We'll try and even them up so they can face each other. Good. And then we're going to make circles around the wrists. And other direction. Good. And tuck your toes under. Take your sit bones back to your heels. Good. And then inhale. Lean forward over your wrists. So stretch your wrist. Lift the breastbone. You might drop the hips forward. Looking up. Good. As you exhale, reach back onto your heels. Good. Inhale. Letting the shoulders come a little forward of the wrists, or wherever the stretch feels good for you. Good. Couple more. Good. And all fours again. Arch your spine up to the ceiling. Wiggle a little from side to side. Arch your spine down. Keep wriggling the ribs from side to side. Good. Arch your spine up. Keep wriggling your ribs. Good. Back into neutral. Great. Tuck your toes under again. And this time, just hover your knees off the floor. And you're going to find a good position for your lower back so you don't feel like you're compressing, and really squeeze the front core to support. Good. And then knees all the way off the floor. And we're in downward facing dog pose. And you're going to just press one heel down and then the other heel down. Just see how your ankles feel this morning or this evening if you're practicing in the evening. Good, and then we're going to sway the hips from side to side. Good. Bring the knees down onto the floor. Keep the toes tucked under and walk your hands back to your knees. And you're going to turn your fingers all the way back. Good, and then gently walk your palms forward, so you're stretching your wrist just as much as you need. Good, you can even stretch right up into the fingers. If you keep walking forward, the heel of your hand might come off the floor, but giving them a nice big stretch. Good, and then taking them back a little. Put them out to the side and put some pressure swaying across the wrists. And then kneeling up and encircle your wrist with your fingers, and you're going to just let the hand be really, really floppy and lengthen that space between the arm and the hand. So pull a little in that direction. Good, and then other wrist. Really floppy, and lengthening the wrist. Good, great. And then we're going to come into plank position. So just take whatever distance you need for your wrist to feel okay here. And we're going to press back through the soles of the feet. Good, and we'll press the fingerprints down. And you want to put your hands so that the middle fingers are sort of parallel, and where the skin wrinkles at the front of the wrist faces forward. Good, find your good position for your back. So we want the lower back to feel nice and long, squeezing the front core. Good, and then take the chest back towards the legs, downward facing dog pose. Letting the chest widen, press the heels. Really press the heels. Good, and back into plank position. Good, and from here we're going to lift up the right leg and bring it to the right elbow. Good, squeeze the front core, and then see if you can bring the knee down without touching the floor to the right wrist. Up to the right elbow, down to the right wrist. Up to the right elbow, down to the right wrist. Elbow, wrist. Plank position. Front core strong. Good. Pick up the left knee, left elbow, left wrist. Left elbow, left wrist. Elbow, wrist. Elbow, wrist. Plank position. Good, knees to the floor. And we're going to rest the hands back beside you. You might like to squeeze them and release, squeeze and release. Taking a moment. And the breath should feel really evident now. So really enjoy the spaciousness of each breath. Breathe in a way that feels luxurious. Good. And then we're going to reach the hands forward again, all fours, downward facing dog pose. Press the fingerprints, the base of the index fingers. Good. We're going to lift the left leg. Lift up, but keep the hips level and press your right heel down. Then you're going to bend your left knee. So your foot's just going to hang over towards your right hip. And then start to turn your torso to the left. So the heart starts to lift up to the left, and the left foot starts to fall towards the outside of the right hip. Now this might be enough. You're getting a nice big stretch and feeling of opening in the left side of the body. But if you want to go a little further, we're going to take the left foot all the way down onto the floor and lift up the left arm as you do that. So make sure you're not going to fall into that. It's under control. Touch down, reach up, open the heart. Good, and then back to downward facing dog pose. Good, press your heels. Great, and then we're going to lift up the right leg. Keep the hips level. Press your left heel. Good, try to keep your shoulder blades level. Good, now you're going to bend your right leg. So the foot is moving towards the outside of your left hip. And start to turn your hips now. Start to open the heart up towards the ceiling. Opening the right side of the body. Good, and if you want to keep going, do that under control. So you keep letting your right foot fall back towards the floor, under control. And lifting up the right arm at the same time. Good, and then reaching back, downward facing dog pose. Press your heels. Relax your neck. Keep the space around the heart. Good. Come into plank position. Knees to the floor. And taking child's pose. And in child's pose, just taking notice of where you feel the depth of the breath. Where your body starts to warm up. Good. And then reaching forward. Arms forward, forward virasana. Bring your elbows down onto the floor and lift your hips up. Just walk your knees back a little so you've got room here. Good, your knees are about hip width. So your forearms are parallel. I'm going to stretch out through your fingers and press your fingerprints, the base of your index fingers. Good. And lift your elbows up and down off the floor and try and maintain the forearms parallel to each other. Good, so you can work here. You can walk your knees back a little bit further. So your arms take a little bit more weight. And if you want even stronger practice, just take your knees off the floor and tuck your toes under. Make sure you're working your arms evenly. They should lift up and down off the floor at the same time. Good, and then stretch back. Keep your elbows off the floor. Stretch back into downward facing dog pose. Just make sure your neck is nice and relaxed. I'm going to press the heels down. Lift the kneecaps, lift the sit bones. Lengthen the belly, the chest. Good. Pick up your right foot and put it in front of the left ankle and really give that heel a stretch down into the floor or towards the floor. Good, and then space the feet, hip width again. Pick up the left toes, just place them in front of the right ankle and give that ankle a really nice stretch down into the floor. Keep the neck relaxed. Good, and then release, press both heels. And then we're going to squeeze the core. And just take a little light hop in, or jump with both feet. Just little squeezing the front core. Good. Jump in as far as you can and then roll up when you run out of room. Arms up, look up. Tadasana. Good, so standing at the front of your mat, feet under your hips. Just finding your feet onto the floor. And powerful lift in the front of the legs, kneecaps, quadriceps, front of the hips, belly, breastbone, top of the head. Feel length in your lower back so that there's room, space for the spine to elongate. Let yourself take up space. Good. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Step your left foot back for Trikonasana. So we're going to turn the left heel out a little. Strong legs. Try to keep both sides of the waist long when you reach your hand down onto your leg or onto the floor if you reach there. And reaching up with your left arm. So you want to feel an evenness through the spine. An evenness in the lift through the legs. Evenness either side of the neck. You might be able to look up at the ceiling past your thumb, but you're looking for that even feeling along the spine and the neck. Lengthen your toes. Good. Bring your hands in front of your heart and stepping forward with ease. See if you can land with your feet hip width distance apart. Good. Stepping your right foot back, Trikonasana, to the right side. So you turn your right toes in. So strong legs. Evenness either side of the spine as you elongate left ribs over the left thigh. Take your left hand down onto your leg or onto the floor, wherever you reach to, and reaching up with your right arm. So feel that lift in the front of the legs, kneecaps, quadriceps, lengthening the spine, lengthening both sides of the neck, reaching, taking up space. Good, bring your hands in front of your heart, stepping forward with that sense of ease, landing feet hip width distance apart. Tadasana. Good, bring your hands into prayer position behind your back, and if that's just too strong in your arms and your wrists, you can hold your forearms or hold your elbows instead. You can wiggle your hands as high as you can. If you're in prayer position, try and get the whole heel of the hands together. Lift the front of the knees, lift the front of the kneecaps. Good, we're going to look up, little back bend here. Good, and as you exhale, bend your knees and reach your torso forward. I forgot my chair was going to be in the way. Good, and then we're going to bend the knees and inhale and come up and release your arms and bring them out to the side and lift up, make a little back bend. Good, and as you exhale, reach them back behind you. So prayer position again. Good, and this time we're going to step the left foot back and we're going to have the feet facing forward. So take a position where you can get your back heel down onto the floor, but you feel like you're getting a stretch in your back heel, back Achilles. Good. We're going to lift the kneecaps, lift the front of the hips, especially the left, lift the belly, lift the breastbone, looking up at the ceiling. Good. And as you exhale, we're going to bend forward again. Reach the belly forward, reach the breastbone forward. Just go as far as your back allows. And if you go too far and you feel your spine bow up to the ceiling, then just back off a little bit. Trust your legs, the power in your legs. Try to keep a back bend. Keep space around your heart. So investigate where you can travel in this posture. Where it's too far for you to go. Trusting your awareness. Feel the hips level to the floor. Good, and then lifting the breastbone. Lift the torso, look up, little back bend. Good, and as you exhale, stepping forward, hip width, release your hands, reach them out to the side, reach up, look up. Good, and as you exhale, bring your hands back into prayer position behind you, or hold your forearms or hold your elbows. You can hold with the other hand on top. Good, and then we're going to step back with the right foot this time. So the feet from side to side are about hip width distance. So finding your balance. You want to be able to really trust the power in your legs. Keep the hips level to the floor. Lift the breastbone. Look up. And as you exhale, reach the breastbone forward. Good. Go as far as you can without bowing the spine up. So your hands are there, your arms are there. You can feel when that happens. Good, so back off a little bit. See if you can reach the belly a little longer, the breastbone a little further forward. And then reaching again, find your way into the posture. Keep the toes long. Keep the legs solid, straight, lifting the kneecaps. Breathe. You can reach the top of the head towards that front foot if you're managing to keep your spine long. Good, and then inhale and come up. We're going to lift the breastbone and look up, little back bend. Good, stepping forward, feet hip width, release your arms, reach up, look up. And as you exhale, arms back by your sides. Good. We're going to step the right foot back. Okay. This is where the chair might be useful. Bounce forward onto your front leg. Good, so do that a few times until you feel like you're holding your balance. Good. And then we want to get a sense that the hips are still level to the floor or parallel to the floor. You're stretching out through your back foot. Good, draw the shoulder blades down. Back of the neck feels long. Use your front core strongly. Good, and then we're going to start to keep tilting. If you're really wobbly, then you can hold onto your chair. Good, otherwise you can keep lifting your leg. Have your hands in front of your heart. Good, you can take the chair out further and give yourself a nice big stretch. You don't need to use it, of course, if you don't need it. Good, and then we're going to release and stretch forward into Uttanasana. Good, roll up, bring your arms out to the side, reach up, look up, and hands back in front of your heart. Good, and then step your left foot back. Good, and then we're going to bounce forward, taking your balance on your front leg. So even if you only do that for a moment, a breath. Feeling where the foot will hold you, your leg, your hip will hold you. Good, and then when you find your balance, your back foot might be really close to the floor, even on the floor, but you want to keep your hips level to the floor. Feel spacious around your heart. Lengthen your lower back. Use your front core to support. And then see how you go, lifting your leg a little higher. Use your chair to help you if you need that extra support. Lift your leg nice and high. Keep the hips level. You can reach your arms out straight here. Or practicing Virabhadrasana 3 without the chair. Good, and then release. Bring your left foot back down to the floor and reach forward into Uttanasana. Good, bend both knees and inhale. And rolling up, looking up. Good, and as you exhale, Tadasana. Okay, we're going to stand with the feet together. Turn your right toes out. Okay, now we're going to reach forward, and you can do it from here, and you can use your chair or you can use onto the floor. You can try being in a tree pose position, so you can take your foot up underneath your knee, up onto here, same thing. We're going to reach forward. Good. Or you can try being in a half lotus, so try and keep your foot dorsiflexed if you want to try that one. Same thing. I'm going to reach forward. It's the old slippery pants. Good, so pay attention to your standing foot. Strong in your standing leg. Good, and then when you're ready, we're going to come up from that position. So you bend your standing leg, reach up. Good, and release, feet together. So same position either side, so whatever you chose to do, either just turning the left toes out, placing your foot under your knee, on your knee, or in a half lotus position. Bend your, or dorsiflex your foot, so both sides of the ankle are strong. Good, and then reaching forward. Finding your support, a chair, or the floor. Strong in your standing leg. So keep pressing down the inside edge of the foot, the outside edge of the foot, lengthen the toes. Good. And when you're ready, bending the leg, coming all the way up. Good. And as you exhale, Tadasana. Good. Bring your hands in front of your heart and take a seat on the floor, whichever way feels most sensible for you. We're going to take Paripurna Navasana, boat pose. So holding the front of the knees, lean back, find the length in your spine, the strength of the front core. Good, see how you go, letting go with your hands, lifting your feet off the floor, just go to where your back is okay. Good, and then we're going to lay down. Hugging your knees into your chest and rocking a little from side to side. Take your left heel onto your right knee and put your left hand through the hole in front and either hold the front of your knee or where you can reach to so that you keep your shoulders relaxed onto the floor. If you really have trouble when you lie down like this and you're having to squash the back of your neck to reach your head, a blanket would be good under your head. Good, and we're going to gently let the left knee move away from the left shoulder. We'll keep the feet dorsiflexed here. Good, and then releasing and opposite side. So right heel onto the left knee. And you might be able to reach your right hand through the hole under your right leg and holding the outside of your left knee or holding in front of your knee or your thigh, wherever feels comfortable for you to reach to. But shoulders relaxed, face relaxed, throat relaxed. In touch with the feeling of the breath and where there might be a little opportunity to open more into the posture, the right knee moving away from the right shoulder. The left thigh feeling heavy towards the left ribs. Relaxed. Good. And then releasing and bring your feet down onto your mat and wiggle them out a little bit wider than your mat. Good. And let your legs fall gently to the floor on the left side. Good. Just let your upper body be relaxed. Good. And then coming back up and feet are a little bit wider than your mat. Let the legs fall gently to the right side. And letting your upper body be relaxed. You can look over your left shoulder. Just letting go where you can. Good. Coming back up. Take the legs gently to the left side again. And this time I'm going to lift the torso. And so use your hands, lift your torso. Have a look. You want your right thigh in line with your right ribs. And we're going to bring the knees into and hips 90 degrees to each other. And then keep turning your torso till you can look back behind you. Good. And see how it feels to lay your torso down onto the floor. Good. Peaceful pose. You're discovering the initial awkwardness, but then looking for your peaceful way of being in the posture. Letting go. Good, and then gently coming back up. Good. Turn or flip the legs all the way around to the right side. So we're looking for the left thigh in line with the left ribs. And turning the torso around to the right. Elongating the waist. And as you start to lower down, finding the initial awkwardness. And then looking for your ease. Good. And then coming back up. Back to symmetry. Laying down. And if you've got the chair there, you could use that to put your feet up onto for your relaxation. Not just your feet, your lower legs. In fact, the more you support of your lower leg right up to behind the knee, the more relaxing it is. Otherwise, laying out straight for Shavasana. Just wriggling your spine into center. Sometimes before you lay out flat or putting your legs up, it helps to bring your knees in, rock a little bit from side to side, lengthening your spine. And when your back feels ready, taking your resting position. Letting go. Letting go. Stay for as long as you need. Taking notice of the sensation in your body. Of the flow of breath. Of the feeling of vitality. And take the feeling of the practice with you. Namaste.